guys, this is some of the meals that we've been having for dinner recently. I'm just firing up in here onions, mushroom, pepper and garlic. There's also quite a bit of black pepper in there. This afternoon Trevor has made some tortilla wraps, so we're going to be having the steak in there. This is a steak. I'm going to slice it into thin strips and we're going to have it with this blue cheese and those onions and bits in the wraps. Got the steak in the pan now with some butter. I'm doing the steak quite well done today and adding the blue cheese into the pan because I'm having a baby and I don't want any raw beef in here, but normally I like my steak very rare. And similarly with the blue cheese, so I'm going to add half of this into the pan. Normally I would just crumble it straight into the wraps. I didn't want to make a separate blue cheese sauce because we're having it in wraps. I thought it would make it a bit too wet, but you can see this cheese is melting down. On the bottom of the wraps I've just put spinach, and Natasha's just having this little one with hers. Tonight for dinner we are having pork chops with macaroni cheese. Well, I guess they're pork, what do they call them? Pork steaks. I managed to get cheese, red Leicester cheese, from the international store. It was really expensive, but it's so nice. I'm just gonna make really nice macaroni. I'm really looking forward to dinner tonight. I've got the pork steaks in the pan and I'm just gonna make a roux to start this cheese sauce. I've added milk to the flour and butter and it's starting to thicken now. I want to see it just starting to bubble on the top before I put the cheese into it. And those steaks are pretty much done. I also did a little bit of broccoli in the pasta water too. Okay, the heat is off and I'm just gonna whisk in this cheese now. This cheese sauce is done. I'm just gonna add pasta into it. Okay, so these are our dinners tonight. So much macaroni cheese. The steaks got a little bit overdone there. I think the cheese isn't as cheesy as I would like, but it's still the best cheese I've found so far. Let's get tucked into this. I'm making a lasagna tonight for dinner. It's going to have a layer that's like a tomatoey layer with peppers and carrots and onion, and then a spinach layer which I've got a little bit of leek that I'm putting in, and then I just poured hot water through this spinach which I'm going to dice up and do in a white sauce. I'm starting with the tomato sauce and I'm just frying all of that together, and I've got some garlic in there now as well. So making a little bit of white sauce. I started with the roux again and I've just added in half a stock cube, so I just crumbled it in. It takes a little bit to melt down so you haven't got the lumps of stock cube. And I've rinsed, I showed you this was been rinsed with hot water. I squeezed the excess liquid out of it and then chopped the spinach up, and this is going to go in here with the little bit of leek and also a little bit of nutmeg. So now I'm gonna layer these up into this glass dish with the lasagna sheets. I've actually got quite a lot of the tomato sauce. I think I might save some of that for nachos later in the week. So these are the layers, and then the last layer I'm gonna put mozzarella cheese on top. So this is the lasagna ready to go, which I'll put into the oven this evening. This is the leftover sauce, and I also boiled up some carrots and broccoli. That's for lunches. I'm trying to decide whether to do some bread rolls to go with the lasagna for tonight. I think I might do. Also opened a tin of sweet corn and washed the tomatoes to go in there, and then normally at lunchtime Natasha has some veggies and a sandwich, and I'll have the same as well. I put this foil on so the top layer of cheese didn't burn, but the cheese is actually stuck to the foil. Okay, I managed to get the tin foil off. I only lost a little bit of cheese here. I'm just going to put this back under the oven to get it crispy. Oh, I'm just about to cut into it and I forgot to film it. It didn't crisp up very much, but we're ready to eat now, so I'm just going to go for it. So this is our lasagna for tonight. I didn't make any rolls for it, but I'm just going to slice up some tomatoes to go with it. Tonight for dinner I'm doing nachos. I'm just frying up a chicken breast, and then I've got the tomato sauce that's left from last night. I'm going to layer it all up with some cheese, and then we'll serve it with salsa and sour cream. I managed to get this from the international store, which I was really pleased about because I didn't have any in the supermarket when I did the grocery haul. Before I add the tomato sauce in, I'm just putting some taco seasoning into the pan. Get the focus. Just coat the chicken with that, and then I'll add the tomato sauce, which will loosen off this bit on the pan as well. At Christmas I was able to get unsalted tortilla chips, and I only bought one bag, and then I went back to buy more and they're all out and they haven't had them since. So we're back to the salted crisps. I do really like the salted ones, but I would just prefer for Natasha for them to be unsalted. So I've got tortillas and salsa. Okay, I'm just putting the last bit of cheese onto the top of this now, and I'll pop it in the oven. And the nachos are ready. They look good. So tomorrow night for dinner we are having an ottolenghi dish, which is chicken thighs with lemons and za'atar, which I've got here. And it's also got onions and garlic in it, but you have to marinate the chicken thighs overnight. So I'm just going to pop everything into a dish now and leave it to do its thing. That's done now. Just leave that in the fridge and I'm going to get started on tonight's dinner. Tonight for dinner we are having steak and potatoes. It's actually really sunny today, so the light is off in this room. Yes, we're having steak and potatoes. I'm just roasting these potatoes only in oil and black pepper, no salt, because I'm going to make a dressing that's got anchovies in it to go over the steak, and that will be quite salty, so it won't need anything else on the potatoes. So here's why no salt. I'm putting capers and anchovies into this salsa, and it's also got lemon juice, garlic, lots of parsley, and a hard-boiled egg. So it's got oil in it, it's dressing, and the egg is to emulsify it, but I've never done a cooked egg before, but I'm following the recipe from Serious Eats, which I will link below. And I like to follow the recipe properly the first time, and then the second time I'll make my own adaptations to it. It calls for a hard-boiled egg, so we're going to go with that. And this all just goes in the blender. So I've got everything in here now: capers, garlic, anchovies, parsley, the egg, which is the one that's steaming, and then there's some oil in it too. I'm going to blitz this up. Okay, this is the sauce. It's actually really nice. I just had some off the blades. All of the flavours are coming through. It's like you can taste them all individually, but it's also a cohesive sauce. I like it. There's a lot more liquid than I expected coming out of the steak. I dropped a little bit of butter in there, but I want some of that liquid to evaporate. Sometimes meat has injected water, which isn't good. Okay, I did manage to get some colour on the steak in the end. So these are the potatoes. I also did a bit of roast broccoli, the anchovy, capers, parsley sauce, which I guess is a salsa verde. I always think of salsa verde as being with green tomatoes, but this one is too. And that's it, ready to go. Tonight we're having this chicken tray bake, which I set up to marinate overnight. It's looking good. It's not the best tray. I could do with a better oven tray, I think. But the oil and the spices seem to have clung together, and then the stock and the lemon juice is separated a bit, so I might need to give it a bit of a stir around. I've tried to spread everything, and the flavour should have permeated all through it overnight. So let's pop it in the oven. Normally I would do it for about 45 minutes, but these are quite small pieces, so I'm just going to give it 30 to start and see how it gets on. The chicken is nearly done now. It's ended up having 40 minutes at 200 degrees. I am just browning off some pine nuts. This is actually a whole bag of pine nuts, that's all you get. You don't need very many though, it's just for a topping. And I've got a tiny bit of parsley here also to go on the top of this dish once it's done. Tonight this is going to be like a double dinners dish, but I'm cooking it all now, because usually when we do a meal for the freezer, we just want to reheat it quickly, so there wouldn't be time to bake it all, and we can just reheat it quickly. This is the chicken out of the oven. It's looking really good, and we're having this over rice tonight. And this is the chicken dish tonight, all ready to go. For tea tonight, I'm doing pesto with... So I'm just mixing this pesto with pasta. It's a bit of a leftovers tea tonight. I've also got a little bit of sweet corn and a little bit of cheese to go with that. And then the tomatoes and the last of the anchovies are in the oven roasting. And this is the dish all finished, the pesto passed over leftover use up dish. Thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.